Hey everybody, welcome back to Susan Lynn Psychic Medium. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. And I want to say a big shout out to all the new subscribers. Thanks for joining and growing our community. And as you can see, that is my little dog Dasher, who is going in and out of the room. But I want to talk to you today about a couple of serious things and one fun thing. So the fun thing first, why not? So I was just on Heart and Soul Connected's channel last night. We tried to do a live, but it is Mercury retrograde, and we couldn't get some components of that worked out, but we did a recorded video. It is on her channel, Heart and Soul Connected. I'm going to put the link in the description box of this video because it's really interesting. We talk about synchronicities. We talk about our gifts and how people are waking up. So it's a very good conversation about a lot of the topics that I think you might be interested in. Also, I want to say that we had this weird synchronized thing happen that you will hear about in the video, where she asked me about a topic that my guides had brought back to my attention, something that I had a download about probably 2 to 3 years ago. And it kind of blew my mind, because how these synchronized things happen is very interesting, right? And I'm sure it happens in your life too, except for we call them coincidences. But I'm here to tell you there are no coincidences. There just aren't. Everything is in play as it should be. You know, if you don't decide to go to the store on Friday, but you go on Saturday, and then you meet this person who ends up being the connection that helps you meet the love of your life, there's no explaining that. That's not a coincidence. It's all I can say about it. The more you do this work, the more you realize there are no coincidences. Your guides are bringing, co-creating people to you in any way they can. And yes, it's true. If you miss, like, let's say, for instance, you don't go to that thing, that event, that party. I mean, believe me, we will be able to go to these things before long. But let's say you just don't go, but you were supposed to meet all these people. This is a personal story of mine. I didn't go. I didn't take this class. I didn't meet these people. I was supposed to. That was part of my awakening. I was supposed to go to this class, and I was supposed to meet these people. But I took the next class instead, because in my practical, ego realistic brain, I felt like I couldn't manage that class at that time, and I would just take it the next time it came around. And it was a psychic development class. And even the teacher said, I think you're supposed to be in this class. I know you're supposed to be in this class with these people. And I'm like, no, but I just can't do it. You know, I mean, because I was thinking with my, practical brain. So I took the next class. It was interesting, whatever. But that first class that I was supposed to be in had some superstars in it. They were just the class, you know how sometimes you just get a group of people together and the energy is so amazing, and the breakthroughs that happened were so amazing. So, and I heard about that class, they were the superstar class. So whatever, fast forward 3 years later, I think it was 3 years later, 2 to 3 years later, and it's 3 years. I'm at a holiday party that my brand new neighbor invited me to. And I just met her. She invited me to this holiday party. So I decided to go. And I end up meeting all the same people at that party that I was supposed to be in this class with 3 years before. And those people ended up being, 3 years later, the catalyst for me accepting that I was a psychic, accepting that I'm a medium, accepting that I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be helping people. So you can see how there are no coincidences. My guides tried to get me to meet up with these people. I didn't. I have free will. I didn't. So then 3 years later, they managed to put me in a new house with a new neighbor that knew somebody that had this holiday. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. So I think if you listen to this video, you'll find something interesting that happened in the video, and I think you'll get some good things from it. And we're all trying to grow our communities. We're all trying to connect with one another. That's the process. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. So I hope you check out the video. I think you'll find it entertaining. And I just spoke for 5 minutes on nothing. So no, it wasn't nothing. Actually, I am connected to my guides right now. And what comes out of my mouth is what I'm supposed to say. So, thank you guides for that information. Okay, I need to talk about 2 topics, and I alluded to this in my last video. So I do want to talk briefly about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Josh Hawley, and probably even more specifically, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and the Senate, and Trump, and Trump's trial. Okay. This is, I'm going to do more videos on this because the energy is building. It's building. Now, first of all, I had mentioned the guides told me that Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to be out and Lauren Boebert was going to be out. I see them being the sacrificial lambs. Obviously, Marjorie Taylor Greene has already been stripped of her committee assignments. This has never been never been done before. It's a new thing. It's a record that's been set now. I see Lauren Boebert now trying to hide, like maybe nobody will notice I'm here. But here's what's happening, and I said it before, and the energy still feels the same, and that is that the Josh Hawleys, the Ted Cruzes are going to make those 2 ladies sacrificial lambs because especially MJT, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she has just gone so far. She's given them so much ammo to use against her, right? So she's going to be going out. She's going to be going out. It may take months. It may be by December, but she's going to go out. But because here's the thing. She said herself, boy, you guys are really stupid to strip me of my committees and now give me a lot of free time to do whatever I want. She basically threatened them saying, you thought I was deadly before. Just wait. You haven't seen anything yet. Hold my beer, So as she gets even more and more radical and because she now feels like she's on the outside, she feels like this is what she feels like. This is not reality, but what she feels like is there's no constraints on her now. Like she's a free woman while still being in the Congress. This is not true, but that's what she feels. So because of that, she's going to be agitating from the outside. She's going to be agitating everybody, agitating Ted Cruz, Hawley, Biden, Schumer, agitating any elected official that she can, whether they're in the House or in the Senate or in the president. It doesn't matter. Everybody is open. It's like open season. That's what I see. As she does this, she's incriminating herself right and left because I don't know. I don't know why. These people have literally had some kind of frontal cortex or something just blown off. I don't know. So that's why her demise. That's the direction of her demise. You're going to see her become more radical, more outspoken, more frenzied, and that is the beginning of her demise. So that plays into now Lauren Boebert. I swear to God, I see her hiding like in the closet. Like, hopefully nobody will know I'm here. I'm going to try to be a little bit quieter, but she's going to because they have to go to stay in office. Cruz and Hawley and all of these people have to offer up some sacrificial lambs to satisfy the quote unquote left so that they can say, okay, we purge these people from the Senate or the House or whatever. And now everything's okay. Everything's okay. So they're the sacrificial lambs. Now, this also matters because, as I said before, the guides keep showing me this showdown. We are in a showdown in the Senate right now. The hearing starts on the 9th in 3 days. And every day that gets closer, the pressure mounts. The pressure mounts because here's what's happening. Seriously, the Russians are one player and they are controlling, the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Graham and and the Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Trumps, they're controlling a lot of these radical Republicans. Okay. That's one segment. The other segment is and I never thought I'd put these two people together, but the Liz Cheneys and the guy that ran for president, that's the Republican that they can't give me his name right now. I can see him, but these two people represent the normal Republicans. But understand, Liz Cheney is far to the right, so I don't know how that's normal. But this is the playing field. This is how crazy the playing field has gotten. Okay, so you have the Russians, and then you have the Liz Cheneys, and then you have the Democrats on the other side. Okay, so the Democrats are ready to drag these people, as I said before, under the mud, through the mud, and to expose. The Democrats are ready. This is a new energy. The Democrats are ready to expose people for whatever they need to be exposed. And the energy I feel is that Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi will expose anybody. If it's a Democrat, if it's a judge, if it's a justice of the Supreme Court, if it's a president, if it's a senator, they don't care. They're ready for things to be exposed. They understand that what we have right now is a rotting, putrid, yuck under our skin as America, and it needs to come out so that we can heal. Okay. If you don't get that out, it's not going to heal ever. So they're ready. They're ready to just say, okay, we're going to throw all the cards on the table. So, and you know what? The Republicans know they're ready because the Democrats passed that bill. They said, we're not kidding here. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you that we're not kidding. And we're going to have the vice president come in and cast the tie-breaking vote at like 10 p.m. at night. Get the message. We're serious. Okay. So now, as I said before, it's almost like who's going to blink? Who's going to blink first? But what you don't understand is, and nobody understands. I haven't heard this from anybody. I mean, when I'm talking about pundits, Mitch McConnell cannot be exposed. Do you understand what I'm saying? He cannot be exposed. He will not be exposed. He cannot be exposed. Lindsey Graham cannot be exposed. If he finally would have capitulated, he would have done it, But you can see how, that first golfing trip Lindsey Graham had with Trump, and then Lindsey Graham's whole attitude changed towards Trump years ago. And again, they keep pounding on Lindsey Graham to be more right. And he just does it. They've got things on him no one can figure out because, for Christ's sakes, being gay is not that bad. So what could they have on him, right? So this is my point. The Democrats are pushing and the Republicans are pushing. But the truth of the matter is that this is a really important message. Mitch McConnell is not going to let this trial happen the way it is, unveiling. He's not going to let it happen like that. He can't let it happen. So he's going to start making deals. Again, all of a sudden, boom, they gave the speaker position, the leader of the Senate to Schumer. All of a sudden they capitulated. Like they've been fighting for a week. We're not going to do it. We want this. We want that. You need to give us this. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it goes. Here you go. Right? So they're going to start seeing some capitulations happen. You're going to see a lot of capitulations happen. And what you're not seeing is that on the down low, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, specifically Mitch McConnell, is going over to Chuck Schumer and saying, here's the thing. I need to make a deal with you. I can't go through. We can't. America, this is what they always say, right? America can't withstand knowing this information. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it can. And we must. We're going to die otherwise. We're poisoned. We've got poison on the inside of our body and we need to get it out. But, they're like, come on, and this is what always happens with the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans are always like, come on, let's just keep it on the down low and heal and move on. Moving on is the best thing. Right? It's like somebody said, it's like when your abusive spouse comes home and says, honey, I'm going to work it out with you. I love you. It was, the best thing for us is to move on. I know I broke your arm and I know I dislocated your shoulder, but it's okay because I'm apologizing and now let's move on. Let's move on. That's what they're saying. That's what the Republicans are saying. Let's move on to the Democrats. Now, the question every single day I have is, what is Schumer going to do? What is Schumer going to do? Because I think Schumer is ride or die right now. I think he is. I think somehow him and Nancy grew a spine and some brass plated, cojones. So they're pushing Mitch into this corner. Okay. We can't have, and I truly think it would be best for us to learn all this about Russia. We already know it. Every investigative journalist knows this, has proven this, right? But we don't care to know it because Americans just don't want to know. All of us, we don't always want to know the bad news, right? We want to just move on too. That's our personality. Frankly, that's how we got to this place. So what is going to happen? I don't know. I can't see it because, as I've said before, Mitch McConnell, you can't read him very well because even if the man was trapped in a car that fell off a cliff and went into the ocean and sank 20 feet, the man would and I would say, okay, I see Mitch McConnell went off a cliff. He's in a car. He went in the water. It sank in the water. Okay, he's gone. The energy, my visual, psychically, I saw that happen. I'm saying to you, yes, okay, he's gone. Not Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell defies the energy every time, much the way Trump defied the energy. Whatever the energy he is in that's predominant, that should dictate what his actions are, it doesn't, because he finds a way out. He fights and fights and fights. So I think that we don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you that either here's the thing, if Schumer doesn't back down and doesn't make a deal, and I think this is somewhat likely, not 100%, but maybe 65% likely. If Schumer doesn't back down and he says, we're going to do this trial and we're going to have the FBI and we're going to investigate all of these connections and the money and the video, and we're going to get it all out so America can see what's going on. If he does that, then Mitch has to do something nuclear on the other side. Is he going to resign? Is he going to resign rather than be held accountable, rather than be, or is he going to have a public, and this is what they're telling me, like a public operations offensive where he does this the same thing. He gets on Fox News and he says, this is all baloney. This is all made up. And I have to tell you that sadly, 20 or 25% of our population is going to believe that. So maybe he'll just say, this is all made up. It's all a bunch of malarkey, baloney, whatever. These Democrats make up crazy things, even though there's stone cold evidence. Okay, so the next thing that would happen, you guys, is, I see Schumer saying this, is that's fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. But you know what? What's going to happen next is I'm going to give this big stack of evidence to the FBI and the CIA, and we're just going to let them sort it out. And if there's federal charges that need to be filed against people like you, like Lindsey Graham or Ted Cruz, then they'll file those charges. And you know what? We'll let it work itself out in the courts. In what the guides keep saying, we need law and order, law and order. They keep repeating this, law and order. Hold people accountable. Do not let them get away with this. You're basically, ruining your democracy. You're smothering out the life of the democracy by not holding people accountable. So I feel like one way or another, some of these Republicans are going to pay, but I definitely think that we are on a pain point for the Republicans. They are in pain right now. They know they're going to have to give some people up. There goes Marjorie Taylor Greene. There goes Lauren Boebert. And they're going to say, is that enough? We gave you 2 people. Can we, what else do you want? Maybe you want Holly. Maybe you want Cruz. Okay, fine. We'll, censure them. We'll take them off their committees too. What else do you want? So you might see them just giving people over to try to ameliorate Schumer and the Democrats. I just don't know. I just don't know that that's going to be enough. And I don't know what's going to happen if America really finds out that Russia is basically our president, or was our president. Our president now is not Russia, but before we had a Russian president. I don't know. It could be very, in some ways kind of shattering of our identity. And I don't know. It's very interesting, guys. We're going into some very interesting times. Those are the things the guides told me that are possible that could happen with this situation with the Senate. As I told you, it's very hard to read Mitch McConnell because he does not do what the energy suggests that he will do. He doesn't. He's almost like, like the zombie you can't kill. And I don't mean kill as in kill. I mean as in censure or make him step down or even arrest or somehow remove his energy from a place of leadership that affects you and I. That's what needs to happen. So this is what I had to tell you. I'm going to go on with this video. I think I'm going to edit it and put in the next part is about Jade Helm. You're going to want to watch that because Jade Helm is a military exercise that happened back in 2015, and it has some big effects on us right now. I think it's really important information for you as well. So I'm going to edit this all together, and hopefully it'll make sense. And please leave me a comment. And if you're just watching this for the first time, welcome aboard, and please subscribe. And the last thing I need to say is this is for entertainment purposes only. So, this is just for entertainment purposes only. So you guys continue watching, and blessings and light. The guides drop information into my head, and I have no idea. Like a few videos ago, they dropped the word Bolsheviks. I had no idea what the heck they were talking about, other than remembering seeing some black and white grainy film when I was in middle school about the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. And he's like, what was that? I don't remember. So that the Bolsheviks ended up being related to the video that I did on the GameStop, which was where basically these investors took over the stock market for a few days and propped up this stock from this GameStop stock and beat the billionaires. They beat the billionaires, which is amazing. That's basically Bolsheviks, right? They also dropped in the word McCarthyism a month ago. I see it every day now. McCarthyism, basically from what they want to explain to me about it is you're reporting on your neighbors. You're saying, hey, this person is doing something illegal, except for that it's on a national level. And McCarthyism was really kind of bad back in the day. But here again, the guides show us how the same tenet, the same thought process can go one direction or the other direction. It's not always one-sided. There's duality, okay? And that's what we're going to be talking about in a minute, is duality and discernment. Okay, so McCarthyism I see every day is because these people that protested and raided the Capitol, they are being reported to the FBI, sometimes from their own children, many times from their community members, their church members, their co-workers. They're all turning these people in. So that's sort of a form of what happened with McCarthyism, okay? So now, the word I want to drop on you today, and I got to tell you, I don't have this figured out, but I have a sense of urgency to tell you. So let me explain that. When I have a sense of urgency, human urgency, and I'm getting the message from the divine, from my guides, their sense of time is so much different. It's so much slower. Many times when they send me a sense of urgency, the thing that happens doesn't happen for, say, 2 months. I mean, so I'm sorry to say that, but I have sat on this for at least 3 weeks. So we're further along than we would be. But so, you know, for instance, they told me about COVID. It was months in advance, and I sat on my couch and cried because I could feel the sadness and the pain. But it wasn't happening right then. It was happening in the future. Okay, so I want to tell you about 2 words, 2 terms. The first one is Jade Helm, Jadehelm. Those of you in the South, especially those of you in Texas, will be more familiar with this term than others. This happened, this Jade Helm was a military exercise by the United States of America in 2015, so before Trump was president, okay? When President Obama was the president, it was a military exercise that I want to say was the biggest, largest military exercise ever undertaken on U.S. soil. It actually happened in small towns throughout America. Okay, so the actual military came into small towns, and in some cases, they took over abandoned strip centers or abandoned Walmarts, whatever, and that's where their staging was. Okay, so this happened. It was completely sanctioned. There was nothing, wrong with it. There was nothing bad about it. But what happened was it triggered some of these people back then. It triggered them to think that this was a government takeover. So let me read you something, and I will probably drop it on the screen as well. This is from a newspaper. This is so prescient. It's so interesting to tie these pieces together. Remember, the guides dropped Jade Helm into my consciousness about 2 weeks ago. Okay, here's what the newspaper says. Hysteria over Jade Helm exercise in Texas was fueled by Russians, former CIA director says. This date stamp is 2015. Actually, it was May 3rd, Texas Tribune. Okay, so yes, this is an article from 2018, but the event was in 2015. Okay, Governor Greg Abbott, that's Texas, decision in 2015 to ask the Texas State Guard to monitor a federal military exercise prompted significant criticism. Okay, so I want you to understand what just happened. In Texas, our governor said, I am going to alert and activate the Texas State Guard to protect Texans from the United States military. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, at the time, we all just thought cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? I mean, we literally just thought, these people are crazy. We didn't understand these crazy people were going to then become even crazier and become activated, these same people, and become activated to attack our Capitol. But that's what happened. So I want to read this. A former CIA director said Wednesday that the move emboldened the Russians to next target the elections. Okay, so Jade Helm started in 2015 when Obama was president, but it's still being, investigated because Russian activity in it. They said they went to these rural towns and said, Obama's coming to take your guns, basically, and here's the proof. You're in a small town and you see this convoy of tanks and military personnel coming into your town, and if you're a certain kind of person I talked about before, where you have this little pinprick in your ability to judge people, they just get in there and make it bigger and bigger and bigger and actually work to radicalize you, basically. So Now, I want to tie this into what's happening now, because I always ask my guides, why? What does it mean? What does it mean? Okay? Because, and that's why I didn't tell you about Jade Helm, okay? Because I couldn't figure out, I mean, to me, here's the duality. This is why discernment is so important, okay? The duality here is that the Jade Helm back in 2015 clearly gives us a heads up, you know, about these people that are being radicalized and are being maybe turned against the United States of America. And I'm sorry, we're under attack again by the trash pickup or something. So there's the duality. The first thing is these people are being coerced and starting to be programmed against the United States government. That's number one with Jade Helm. Number two, there's going to be three things here. I intuited, and I told several people in readings that had maybe family members that were in the military, that we have a big problem in our military. And I saw the military, what the guides told me was, our military doesn't have a mission. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of them that are listless. You know, they don't have a target. They don't have a mission. So military needs a mission. You know, what is my mission? What am I doing? You know, it's almost like they need a target, right? And so many years we've had, you know, Middle Eastern countries to be targets, right? And now we've really drawn them down and they're in America. We've pulled them back from various bases and now they're here and they don't have a target. That makes them, they just told me they don't have enough to do and they're being co-opted. So you can also add to that. If you look at, they just told me the name of it, Fort Hood in Texas, we have had a lot of murders at that. I mean, flat out murders at that base. People disappearing. Okay. There's a couple of really well-known ones, but they just found out that they got rid of the commander. I mean, they did everything they could to try to figure out what was going on, right? But this was during the Trump years and Trump doesn't really care. I mean, this is what happened. The rot was in the White House, but it came all the way down. It came all the way through our society. So in this military base, Fort Hood, they found out that there were sergeants and various officers on the chain that were acting in an organized crime fashion with prostitution and the female army enlisted, you know, people. Now that should just blow your mind. Okay, so like I said, we don't have enough to do. They're starting to kind of create their own little fiefdoms. I mean, you know, where a fiefdom is a good, but their own little communities where they're starting to break out and it's not good. What's happening is not good because they need to be focused. So let me tell you what happened. And this is why I'm doing this video. This just happened on February 3rd. Again, I'm trying to slow roll this video because I wanted to figure out what exactly the guides wanted me to tell you about it. So on February 3rd, Defense Secretary, our brand new Defense Secretary, orders 60-day stand down to confront extremism in the military. Pentagon, stumped by extremism in ranks, orders stand down next 60 days. That was in Reuters. That was an international news source. So now you have our own defense secretary saying, we're putting everything on hold. We need to go into these military bases and we need to find out what's happening because we have extremists in our military. Okay, and I just got chills. That means the guides are saying, you're on point, you're on point, you're on point. Now, what is that? I'm just reading my notes here. Okay, what that means is for us, for you, and maybe if you have a loved one in the military. Now, let me take this opportunity to say this. I am not anti-military. My dad was in the Korean War. My oldest brother was in the Vietnam War. My second oldest brother was at the tail end of the Vietnam War. Army, Air Force. And then my next oldest brother was in the National Guard. So although I have a family that is very much military, okay, my dad had the American flag on his casket when he passed. Okay, so I'm not anti-military. I'm simply sending out an alarm. And also, I'm asking you guys to help me figure out, as this thing goes forward, this Jade Helm, how does all this fit together? Okay. So I want to say this. The next thing I see my guides tell me is that because the military is idle, okay, we have too many members in the military and they're too idle. They're not fighting a war, but yet we have wartime numbers of military in our ranks. That's what they just told me. I don't know. I haven't Googled that. But I see President Biden, going into he's very pro-military. I mean, he is very pro-military. I feel like I see Biden going into these bases, and then he's such a gentle soul, right? He's not going to go in and start tossing people out of the military because they're in an extremist group. But he is going to leave that up to maybe his defense secretary, who very well might do that. You might see quite a few people being, honorably, because I think this is where Biden comes in. I don't think Biden will let them dishonorably discharge these military people that are an extremist, unless they've crossed a line, unless they've committed a crime or something like that. I think you'll see that they will be given this message that, we're watching you, and you need to either pledge your allegiance to the American, the Constitution and the United States of America, including President Joe Biden and me as defense secretary, or, you can have your honorable discharge and be on your way, right? But don't mistake what they just told me don't mistake the fact that you now are on an FBI watch list. You will be on an FBI watch list because you have made it clear to us that you're an extremist, that maybe you don't, that you've been radicalized. Okay. Number one. Number two, this is where it gets better. So I had told a client of mine a few months ago that the military was going to be sizing down, and I didn't know why. It just came out because her son was in the military, and I was like, I think he'll be fine, but they are going to be reducing their troop numbers. But to me, it made sense, right? I mean, it just made sense from a practical standpoint. But now I see how all these pieces are starting to fit together. So here's where it helps. I saw military, to me, it was National Guard, but it really could be that Biden has to do the War Powers Act and, among many things, take over some factories to create this vaccine that we need more quantities of. But also it would be great for the military, and I mean the really regular military, not the National Guard, to become involved in public works projects. So what I see is not only the military creating these vaccine centers where another thing just popped in, where you come and get vaccinated in a very quick way. Because let's say the military vaccinates how many hundreds or thousands of people when they bring them into the military. I mean, they have a system for this, and it's like you have a line, and then boom, 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 all the way down, right, with air guns. So they know how to do this. They know how to systematically create this system where you can just vaccinate thousands of people. So that's number one. And then I need to say this too, and I hope this all makes sense, that I did get a vision of some people, for lack of a better word, attacking some of these vaccine lines. And as that happens, and I don't want to say don't get in the line, get in the line. Get your vaccine. It's the only way we go back to normal. I'm not kidding you guys. It's the only way. I'm deadly, deadly serious here. But as the threat, let's just say it this way, as the threat increases against some of these vaccine lines, which there'll be many more threats than actual, things that happen, it will make sense to have the military doing it too, because the military obviously is much more prepared for that. Okay. So that's another reason why the military gets involved with these vaccine lines. But let me go to the, kind of the Green New Deal, if you will, that has been bandied about, through maybe AOC and Bernie and different people like that. But we're going to have this, the truth of the matter is we have too many soldiers. We have too many military members. We're not going to war. That's not going to happen. So we have to do something with them. And, doing another Jade Helm exercise where you bring thousands and thousands of military into these rural towns and small towns is not an option considering what happened last time. So that's not gonna work. But what I do see them doing, I love when the guides talk to me because I can't think of the word and then they drop it in. The CCC, the Citizen Conservation Corps or something like that. Some of you will be familiar with what they did. If you go to a state park, a lot of the stone buildings, a lot of the wooden buildings, a lot of everything was built during the Depression of the 1930s by the CCC. You could actually get a job by going and joining one of those groups. They actually even employed artists. It was an amazing thing. It was basically a way for the government to put people to work. Okay. And the work they did was seen as beneficial to the whole United States. So that's what I see with the military. I see them saying, okay, we have too many people. They're too idle. When you're idle, you start, it's just not good. It's not good. They need to be focused. So they're going to take these military and assign them, this is just literally coming into my head, to the civil service. I guess there's a group of the military that builds bridges and things, are they Civil Corps? I don't know. But they're going to take basically infantry, and assign them as workers with these people who are going to go into communities that agree to have it done. This is very key. And they're going to help them maybe repair a public park or repair, I don't know. This is going to be important because it starts to step on the toes of the Corps of Engineers in some ways. So you're going to have a lot of buy-in from the local cities. And that's why I say it's going to depend on the city and the state. So I don't see this happening as much in Texas as I see it happening in maybe Oregon or California or Illinois or Vermont or cities that may be Detroit, Delaware. These are some of the cities that they're telling me who will be open to it. Yeah, sure. You want to come in and fix this infrastructure that, is broken? Yes, please. And thank you. And then it gives it's just an amazing feeling that I have right now because it gives these soldiers this sense of pride. They are showing me as if I'm a soldier and I'm working and I'm a female soldier and I'm working on this, whatever it is, whatever the project is. They're showing me driving back to that project 40 years later and saying, I built that. I did that. That has my sweat equity in it. So can you see how everything changes? Can you see how everybody gets lifted up? Can you see how now they're buying into the American dream because they're part of the American dream, because they're helping people, right? So this is the big change. Again, I got chills. This is the big change I see in the military. There's going to be people that are going to have to go. And there's going to be people that are going to have to be rearranged. And then there's going to be people who are going to be part of this bigger thing where we're trying to, again, they just dropped in forest fires. So maybe some of the military will go and help fight forest fires. Basically, we're going to help us. We're finally going to help Americans instead of helping everybody else. You know what I mean? Which I think is part of some of these people's problems, these populist people like the Trumpers. They want help here. They don't want to give away our resources. I understand. I feel the same way sometimes. And I think this is going to benefit us. It's going to bring us all together. So that is awesome, because I had no idea when I started talking about this that Jade Helm was going to have this big legacy. Of course, not everybody's going to connect it together the way I did, because the guides just dropped this into my head. But the military will have this legacy of really being a force for good. And I think that's just, I can't tell you how amazing it feels to me to be in that energy now, to feel like I went from sitting around on base doing stupid drills to really going and helping people and feeling good about what I was doing, and making something that's everlasting that I can take my grandkids to go see and say, I did that. I painted that. I built that wall. I was a part of that. So I just think that's amazing. So thank you for joining me on this super, super long video that I probably should have made into 3 parts, a mini series. But anyway, thank you so much if you watched this long. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I hope the message helped you. I hope that it gives you better understanding of where we are and what we're doing. And if you did, please subscribe. Please like the video. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you again soon. Thank you again so very much.